What up, my geeks? Jeffrey Powers here from Geekazine, and today we are celebrating 10 years. 10 years. 10, can you believe it? 10 years of Geekazine. Hey everybody, Jeffrey Powers here from Geekazine. Think Magazine, put in that geek. There you go, you got me, you got myself, and all that other good stuff. And of course, you can find me over on Facebook, you can find me over on Twitter, you can find me over on Instagram. Think Geekazine, there you go. And here you are, and there we are, and we're all here, and we're here today because it's time. It's 10 years. It's 10 years. And as you can hear, we played the old music, the old intro music. And yes, I found the old intro music. I was really excited about that. As this day, 10 years, 2007, Geekazine started. And really excited because it's grown in so many ways, in so many shapes, in so many forms. It's just amazing on that. I've done a lot of things. I've made my own t-shirts, which you can find right here. Let's bring up the merch link here. That's over at geekazine.com/merch. I think that's going to work. Is it going to come up? Is it? No, maybe. There it goes. Sometimes you gotta have glitches during the whole show. So anyway, 10 years ago, I made, technically it was in October when I started the show, which turned out to become the Geekazine podcast. And 10 years ago, I started with an audio podcast. I was going from a music podcast to a tech podcast. And I was really excited about it because it was something new. It was something, what I did was I planned for a month, and I said, hey, let's throw out some names, let's talk about it, let's figure it out, because it was called The Show. Geekazine didn't exist at that point, and it was something I can't remember exactly. I think it was called what I was trying to do is the Tech Man Show or something like that, but that was taken. And I was well, first of all, I see Sass photo, thank you very much. It says live, ? Yes, live. We are live. We're not in Memorex by any means, but anyway. So where was I? Oh yeah. So it was something like the Tech Running Man or something like that, and it was kind of taken, and it was through a couple emails, and it was really just a rant about easing. Because I hated the idea of easing. Easing didn't make any sense. It's azine, like magazine. And that's when I said, well, a magazine for geeks, Geekazine. Oh, yeah. Well, 22. There we go. You got 22 again. Okay, well, that works. Of course, geekazine.com was available, so I registered it, and I set up my my website. And so that's when Geekazine started. And of course, I was on episode number 4 or 5 at that point. And you can catch all the episodes at geekazine.com. All you have to do is go down to geekazine.com and go to the last few pages, and you're going to catch all the podcasts. All the audio is still up there, including that intro. A lot of things have happened in 10 years, good and bad. And I've gone through many good moments. I've gone through many bad moments, and many moments where I was sitting there going, am I doing this? Am I actually going to be working for myself? Because it wasn't right away that I decided to start working for myself. In fact, I was at a regular 9-to-5 job at that point until the next day. And I didn't see it coming. And I walked out of there, and it was actually a good thing. Because I had a smile on my face when I walked out of there. I was like, yeah, I'm good. This wasn't working for me. So I went back to contract work while I was working on Geekazine for a few months. And then it was about a year later that I finally made the decision, well, I need to do Geekazine full time. And that was, I was doing a contract. I was an IT professional, IT administrator, whatever you want to call it at the time, enterprise technician, whatever. And I had a contract where I had to go down to a school system about 30 minutes south of where I am in Madison, Wisconsin, and take care of their problem, which basically was one of the teachers or somebody put a virus onto the computer, which of course at the time was a pretty regular thing that happened. So what my job was to go down there and to clean out the servers. and clean, make them nice and tidy and everything like that. And I got down there, and it's like, okay, well, I have my thoughts, my plans. This is how you go forward with a major virus strike. And basically, it's you do take a lot of servers down, and you bring them up in a different network. So never the two systems intertwine, therefore the virus doesn't spread. But I got down there and they said, well, here's the problem. You're going to be rebuilding these machines, and you're going to be putting them right back in the system where all the other machines are and where the virus is. And I said, you've got to be kidding me. And they said, nope, this is the way that they voted to do it, and this is the way we're going to do it. And I go, you realize this is not going to work. And they said, we still got to do it the way that they go. And it's like, okay, whatever. So I went down and I sat down and I started cleaning out machines, and I was thinking to myself, God, this doesn't make any sense. But I did. I got the work done, day done. Packed up, drove back home the next day. And it actually was really funny because my truck had a problem, and it was in service, in the service shop. So I had a rental for the first 2 days. And I went back down there the next day, and I got to the building, and I walked in about 5 minutes late because, it was an extra drive and didn't expect, how long it was going to take. And they basically said, well, why don't you just turn around and go home? Because the virus reinfected, and now we've got to rethink everything. And I thought to myself, well, this is ridiculous. First of all, they shouldn't have done it like that. And second of all, it's, you just wasted my 30 minutes of my time. And as I was driving home, I realized, this 9-to-5 job thing wasn't really cutting it. I needed to do something different. And that's when I said, well, okay, Geekazine is going to be the full-time thing. And I've, since then, made it a full-time thing. I have not had a 9-to-5 job in 10 years, technically 9 years, depending on how much contract work I did. But it was one of the best decisions I have ever made, and I don't know if I could go back to a 9-to-5 job. I really don't, because I'm so used to doing this. I'm so used to getting work done and then moving on to the next project. Because that's the key right there, is if you can't get things done and move on to the next project, if you have all this red tape you have to deal through, then why do it? So anyway, this becomes that became the other thing. This became Geekazine. Here we are. Boom. So 10 years, that's what happened 10 years ago. And a lot of changes have happened in Geekazine. Like I said, you heard the intro. The original intro to the Geekazine Weekly podcast. Of course, that changed a few times. The logos changed a few times. Now we have geekazine.com. Let me pull up the website here, and you can see what it looks like now. I think we've got this one. Nope, that's not it. Let's go over here. There we are. Of course, that's in full screen. Let's bring it down to. I don't have it in regular screen. Let's do some quick fixing here. Able to fit. Boom, just like that. There we are. Geekazine.com. So this is what it looked like, and of course I have somewhere in the website I actually have the old look of Geekazine, but I'm not going to go hunt for it right now. But anyway, as you see with the new logo, the new 10-year logo, it's actually the new Geekazine logo's in there, but it's with the one in front, it looks like 10 years, so 10 years of Geekazine, and there you go. And lots of different things. You just saw the movie wall at the beginning, and all the intros, and all the graphics and stuff like that. Programs such as Wirecast, which I've been using to do video, because it went from an audio podcast. It went within a year. It pretty much streamed into video podcast, because I didn't want to deal with just audio. I was not just an audio guy. I was a video guy too, full AV. And here we are, there we are, and this is it. So really excited about this. So anyway, I'm going to try and keep it as long but as short as possible. We're already in 13 minutes here. And this is kind of like the podcast like I used to do, except I'm not reading off news, because there's a lot of interesting things in the news today. And my thoughts go out to the people that in the Vegas shooting, the people in the Texas shooting, the people in New York. It's just sad in the 10 years of all the events that we've seen, from hurricanes to tornadoes to major events to shootings to everything else, and of course a president that makes no sense to me. But neither here nor there. This isn't a political show. This isn't. This is about tech, and Geekazine's always been about tech, and 10 years of tech. So and lots of things have happened. I mean, in 2008 we had Geekazine. I started Day in Tech History. I started Dorkazine. I started Sportazine, and a couple other shows. We had Tech of Politics. We had the Tech of we had different types of tech shows at that time, and then of course the 5 things you should know about, and then that turned the OTT, which was over the top television. Those were some of the shows of Geekazine's past, and then we moved on. We had This Week in Google Glass, which turned into Wearable Today with Luke Wallace and myself. It was a great show. And then of course the podcast, the regular podcast. Basically, I had the podcast and the events schedule, which was all the extra interviews and stuff like that. And I decided that after 300 episodes, the Geekazine Weekly podcast would go away, and then we'd move everything over, kind of congeal it all together, and create the Geekazine Review. Excuse me, which is where you see all the videos, that including this one, that go out to review, to interviews, and all that other stuff. Because I wanted to change the way, because tech news was nice, but it was so expirable content. So 3 weeks from now, you don't want to hear me rant. I didn't want me to hear me rant about how Microsoft and Yahoo were in another legal battle. It just wasn't the thing for me. And I could go back to a news show. In fact, I did with Morning Geeks. More on the geeky side of things, and we did a season of that, and I put that into the back on the shelf because A, it wasn't really going in the direction I wanted Geekazine to go to, and B, it was garnering the audience that I was hoping for. So, but it's still, there might be something in the future for that. And of course, lots of things have happened. I mean, 2007. I mean, we just got an iPhone for the first time. So there was no iPad. There was no cool apps that you could podcast with on your iPhone or iPad. Android was just starting out. Everything had to be run old school, and in some cases analog. And that's what I did. I had, being a musician, I had the microphones, I had the mixers, and I had the interface to the computer. And of course, I was doing podcasts already. So doing that, putting it all together wasn't a difficult task. But now, it's just, you got this little puppy right here, and next thing you know, you're creating a podcast. You're creating video. You're creating everything. And that's great. And I applaud everybody that can work this way, because I've worked this way, and many times. I prefer to have this camera in front of me in a more stable environment. This talking head, I guess you could call this, but that's the crux of what I did, and that's the crux of what I still do, is getting these interviews. I have the Canon M5 over here, and I just did some videos the other day, and they're going to be posting later on. Lots of reviews, lots of things like that. So it's been a wild ride, and we're getting about 17 minutes. So I'm gonna, first of all, I want to thank everybody that has been part of Geekazine through the 10 years. From Frank, who used to do all the Linux stuff on Geekazine, to John, to Todd, and Andy McCaskey being a very big influence with me. When I joined the Tech Podcast crew in 2009 to do CES, that was my first real event, and that was just like, oh my goodness, this is the thing. And then Andy said, well, why don't you come with me and help me out with another task here? And I met a whole bunch of people. It was for Hewlett Packard at the time, or HP, and we did some live events for them, and it was amazing, and it opened up my eyes to a whole bunch of new stuff. That year I went to Blog World, and I met all the people there. I created my relationship with a company called Wirecast, which is what I use to do all this switching, all the graphics, and all that other stuff. And since then they've been a strong supporter of me. At that point, I also talked with Stitcher because they were just in their infancy. They were like 4 companies prior to Deezer purchasing them, and I created a relationship with them. I created a relationship with a couple other companies that no longer exist, but that's okay. And then, of course, Tech Podcast and Blueberry Network with Todd Cochran, and met a whole bunch of great people. And then CES became CES, and then CES became NAB. NAB became South by Southwest. South by Southwest became so many other shows that I go to, and still haven't covered all of them that I really wanted to. I still want to go to Comic-Con. I still want to go to Mobile World Congress, and I'm kind of figuring out how I can do that this next year. All these other stuff, I'm figuring it all out, and going along the way, and along the way, so many people that have helped me out. Back in 2012, when I was working with a lot of startups, I had Adria, who helped me by, giving me a couch to stay in San Francisco because the prices of hotels were exorbitant. I didn't have that much money. Same thing with South by Southwest. My friend Wesley, he offered a couch, and if it wasn't for that, I wouldn't be going down to South by Southwest. I wouldn't have had those experiences that I've had in the few years. If it wasn't for HP and Hewlett Packard Enterprise, which I do a lot of work for since then, I wouldn't be doing. I would probably not be where I am today. Geekazine might just be one of those websites that every now and then I'll post something, but got a lot of posting going on right now. And of course, I've got a couple of people on staff, including Connor, who's been writing like I think like 2 articles a week, and getting a lot of cool stuff out there. So you can check that all out on Geekazine. And in fact, if we go back over to the website, he just talked about smart capture binoculars, which is called IQ, which is pretty cool. Read through that over on geekazine.com. And oh wow, I'm trying to remember everybody that I want to thank. I mean, Marco, Luke with the Wearable Today. He did a lot with us. We had Gabriel when the OTT came out. He was helping me with some of the shows, coming on and talking about certain things. So many names and so many people that watch the show, or watch the show and watch the interviews now. It's amazing. So I could go on and on, but I'm already going on and on, 21 minutes. So anyway, that's pretty much it. Before the day was done, I wanted to give the shout out that 10 years ago today, Geekazine started, and YouTube started a little bit later. I was on another channel. It was a long story, but the whole point is that we're now in the focus of the YouTube channel with going on 12,000 subscribers and growing, and I'm hoping to get to 15 by the end of next year, or maybe more. You never know what's going to happen. Lots of interviews, CES coming up. One of my friends, Alistair Cook, who basically was inspired by what I did and started doing it. And then we last year we sat down and we talked about it, and we go, hey, let's get together and do something together. And so earlier this year we started Build Day Live, which is it's a way for enterprise technology to have a different resource on how to put hardware into their infrastructure. And it's amazing. We're going to be doing a build day next week at Datrium, Hewlett Packard Enterprise. We did 2 of them already this year. We did one at Pure Storage. We're going to Sunnyvale, California for Datrium, and then I'm going to go to Madrid and then Tel Aviv for Revelo. And if you don't know these companies, that's okay. This is all enterprise technology, but we're doing what's called Open Converged. If you know what that means, that's great. And if you don't, if you want to know more, just look it up, Google it, and search it up and check it out. And of course, our build day will be on let's see, November 16th for Datrium, and then I don't remember the date exactly for Revelo. Yeah, but first of all, I go to Madrid and do some live stream there, and then I go to Tel Aviv, which is going to be awesome. It's going to be awesome. So 2018 is already looking to be cool. CES 2018 to begin with. And NAM, National Association of Music Merchants. I've been doing that for the last couple of years, getting more into the music tech because I'm a musician and it makes sense. And talking to a lot of people, and I'm going to have a lot of great interviews in the month of January and February. Hopefully, Mobile World Congress, if it all works out, and then go from there. And we've already got a couple build days in the hopper. We don't have dates set just yet, so that's going to be cool. And then the sky's the limit from there. So in all, 10 years, it's been a bumpy road, but it's been a great road, and I'm really glad that I stuck with it. And I'm glad you guys checked it all out over at geekazine.com, youtube.com/geekazine. And we've got Adaman423 that says, glad you're still here. Thank you very much, Adaman. And thank you very much to everybody that's watched. Even if you're watching after the fact, thank you very much. And you can always be a part of the show. You can always tip me. I'm not going to promote much of this stuff. We got the merchandise over at geekazine.com/merch. You can get a shirt like this. I make the best geek porn. So, so Adaman423 says, Jeff, being a musician, you could say you are drumming up a success. Yes, I am drumming up success. And yes, and it's a lot of fun. In fact, I'm going to be playing some music tonight. I got a review coming up of the Roland TV 50 drum set, which is pretty cool, and some other cool stuff in the hopper that we'll be working on in December and in January. But it's going to be a very tight time frame, so we'll see what happens in getting all that stuff out. So. All right, well, that's pretty much it. Thank you guys very much for coming to this. It was a rant. Yeah, I know it's a rant, but the bottom line is that I wanted to at least mark this occasion. 10 years. I should have got myself a cake, but I didn't get a cake. No cake for me. So maybe later. I don't know. But 10 years of Geekazine, I'm really excited about it. So you can catch me over at Geekazine, Twitter, Geekazine, Facebook, Geekazine, all that other stuff. Thanks a lot for watching. You've been watching my rant, my rave, and this title's not coming up. There we go. 10 years of Geekazine. And thanks a lot. And you guys geek out, and we'll see you next time. Take care.
Welcome to Geekazine, a weekly audio magazine for the geek in all of us. Now, here is your host, Jeffrey Powers.